Alright guys, I just wanted to give you an alternative way of factoring these. This is a direct link to what their graph of a quadratic equation looks like. So what we're going to do is we're going to open Desmos, and it's got to be the graphing one. Okay, so let's see here. We're going to just simply type in x squared minus 7x minus 18. Okay, and when we do that, if this thing does indeed factor the way I've shown you in the last couple videos, we should be able to go to the graph and see. So right here, this line right here is my x-axis. Here's my y-axis. This thing will factor, or the values that it factors to are actually where this thing crosses the x-axis. So that point right there is a -2, and that is a 9. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'll come over here and we'll say -2 and 9. Okay, if we look at those now, basically what happens if we were to multiply them, they do indeed add or multiply together to give me -18. But they add to give me +7 instead of -7. So what has to happen is that we write our x here and our x there, but then you put the opposite of what that is. So -2, so I'm going to put a +2, and the opposite of that, which would be -9. And that is the factored version. Okay, if I were to FOIL this, we get x times x gives me x squared. X times -9 is -9x. +2 times x is +2x. And then 2 times -9 is -18. And you see that x squared, those are going to add together, give me -7x and -18. So this is indeed the correct version of the factored quadratic. So let's try another one here. See if this is something that will always work for us. So let's try this one here where it goes p squared. So again, if I'm going to use Desmos and use this graph, I can't use p. It won't graph p. It has to be at x. So then -14. So I do that. Okay, I get this picture here. Oh. And we're going to see where it crosses. We see here it crosses at, all we got to do is click on the graph and it'll put that little gray dot there. So -2 and then 7. -2 and 7. And now remember, we got to put the opposite of those in the parentheses. So the opposite of -2 is +2, and the opposite of 7 is -7. If you were to FOIL that, it's going to get you back to that thing right there. Okay. Do another one. Let's do it this way. There we go. That's better. Let's go m squared minus 9m plus 8. Do it that way. And here we see +1 and +8. So 1 and 8. So then it's going to be x minus 1 and x minus 8. Remember, we got to put the opposite of those in there. So it was a -1 that goes in there. Again, you can FOIL. Check that out. Okay. Let's go x squared minus 16x plus 63. And 7 and 9. So it's going to go x minus 7, x minus 9. Let's say we have one. I don't know if I've got any on here that are like this, but you can start to see, I just got a couple others for a different section here that we'll work on later. Let's do this one. Let's say I had, x squared plus 5x plus, I don't know, 19. Okay, and I wanted to factor that. Well, if I put the plus 5x in, plus the 19 in, and we graph it. Now you don't see anything graphed. You're going to move the graph a little. You see all the way up here. Well, remember where my cursor is the x-axis. This thing does not cross the x-axis, so this thing would not factor down to something plus or x plus or minus, and some number there and some number there. Okay, so we would consider this one prime. Okay, and that should match up then to what we did maybe in the last couple examples, or maybe the last example in the last video. Okay, so again, this is just hopefully an alternative way for you to factor your quadratic equations or quadratic expressions. We will definitely come back to this approach. This is going to help us. This approach helps us solve the equations. This little feature here of where the x or the x value of where the parabola crosses the x-axis is key to solving equations with a power of 2 in them.